Okay, so welcome back to another amazing history lesson. So this one is going to be looking at how did an official police force develop in the industrial era. Okay, so industrial era, we're looking at 1750 to 1900, really. Okay, 1750 to 1900. Because this is obviously a period of huge amount of change where factories develop, you get the Industrial Revolution, you then have, I'm not giving you any answers, urbanization, which comes with a huge amounts of problems. The old police force can't cope, so they need a new police force, and that's what we're going to look at today and the next couple of lessons. All right, but first, to make sure we move all of that knowledge we looked at the last couple of lessons into our long-term memory, we need to go over it and over and over and over and over and over again. So what I'd like you to do is have a think about these questions here. So what were these policing roles? In your answers, make sure you tell me how they work, how they stop people committing crime, or how they catch people. Okay, so you've got tithing, shire, justice of the peace, parish constables, Charlies, give some dates to those, and then I'd like you to tell me what the four problems caused by the Industrial Revolution were. Okay, so if you make sure you've got a couple of pens, blue, black, and maybe a green to add in any extra information or change any answers, please do. I'd say pause this for 4 minutes, answer these questions, and then pop back and we'll go through the answers. Oh, sorry, I just fell asleep as I was waiting for you there. Don't worry. Okay, so let's go through. I haven't written the answers down. All right, so what were these policing roles? Tithing, we put 10 men. These were men of the community, so everyday people who were policing themselves. So if one committed a crime, the others would capture them and take them to court to be tried by shire or justice of the peace. Okay. Shire, this was another person in charge of policing. They were mainly in charge before the Norman conquest. Okay, but they were employed by the king to oversee law and order, and it was their job. Say if the tithing failed to catch a criminal, they would do it using the posse comitatus. These were group of armed men that would sort of go beyond the tithing and the 100 and chase the criminal around the county. Justice Peace introduced 1326, so these were after Norman invasions, basically because the amount of crime was increasing. Right, they replaced the shire and they held trials. So in trials, you can talk about the trial by combat and trial by ordeal. Parish constable, they replaced the 100 men, and they helped the justice of the peace. They were in each town to maintain law and order. So they looked after roads, checked public, checked pubs, so they checked licenses, things like that. They were unpaid, so they were voluntary. But so were a lot of things. Tithings were unpaid. Hundreds were unpaid. A lot of these things were really there because they had to be there. Society was quite small. If tithings didn't work, it just crumbled. The village couldn't work. The village can't work when they've got a thief stealing everything. So if they don't do something themselves, society crumbles. Charlies, these were the first paid early type of police force. They take over from the night watchman, so they're named after King Charles II, and they're patrolling the streets, mostly London, because that's where a lot of crime happens, looking for criminals. Right, first, the four problems caused by Industrial Revolution. So less food in the countryside because most people have moved in. Huge population, so we go from 16 million in 1800 to 42 million in 1900. It's a huge, massive population increase. We have overcrowding, unsanitary conditions, people are unhappy, and you also got the fact that not everyone has a job, and it's not always the best paid job. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we are going to look at this group called the Bow Street Runners. We're going to look at who they are, how they help policing, and then next lesson we're going to look at how they're improved upon. But if we look at, basically, we've got policing from tithing, steadily, slowly it's getting better and better, and now this is another step. Okay, but first, who was in charge of policing in the medieval and early modern era? Who was in charge of policing in the medieval and early modern era? Pause yourself to give yourself a chance to answer that question. Okay, so here you've got the community. All right, tithings, hundreds, the community. Unpaid, it's mainly society. They've got to deal with the problem themselves, otherwise their lives can't work. What major changes had happened to get to the industrial period? I think. I always think industrial period, industrial. When do I use that word? Industrial revolution. So factories, technology, massive increases, and population increases. Okay, so urbanization as well. And this is really, really important because this is what drives all of the change in this era. This is what drives all of the change. I mean, changes the policing as well. Okay, so what we're going to look at now, let me just change screen so I've got my visualizer up and running. Click share, that helps. That's not going to be me. I need to plug in the second camera. That would help, wouldn't it? That would be clever. Switch camera. Boom, got it, smashed it. You said I didn't have technology, eh? I should become an IT teacher. I'm trying to get out of the way of something. Okay, so we're going to look at a new group called the Thief Takers. Now, it is a very, very good name for them because you have the population increasing and increasing and increasing, especially in cities. This is going to be a building there because of the factories, okay? So these people are closer and closer, living closer and closer and closer together, and more people. So crime increases, okay? Crime increases. You've got poorer people living there who need to steal because they're poor, poverty. So they need to steal. It's easier to steal from people because there's more people to steal from. Also, if we looked at society, if you've got a society of sort of 30 people, you're not really going to steal from somebody because otherwise they're going to know it's you. There's only a small number of people in there. That's why the tithing worked so well. Whereas if you've got, you know, blocks of flats and no one knows each other, so this person has no idea who this person is, well, they're able to steal from that person and no one will know because no one knows him. Okay? Whereas in a village, everyone knows each other. Right? So now crime's increasing and they have a problem. So what gets set up is this group called Thief Takers. Now, it is as simple as it sounds, okay? They literally take thieves. They literally take thieves. So what I mean by that is people take it upon themselves to patrol the city. So here he is with his hat, thinks it's important. So he's walking round and round and round and round and round until he sees someone who's stolen something. Okay? So he gets them and then he chases them. He chases them. Often he captures them. And then he takes them. And their money. back to a court to be tried. Great. Sounds like police, doesn't it? Yeah. However, they did this for reward. Okay, they did this for reward. They got something in return. Now, unfortunately, crime is on the increase, and these people are also dodgy people. They are also criminals. So often what's happening is they are actually committing the crime themselves. So they're stealing the money. And then they're just finding someone else to take the blame. Okay, so the thief takers are finding someone else to take the blame. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to think about this question here. How effective were the thief takers? How effective were they? Pause it, give yourself 3 minutes to answer that question. Okay, so welcome back. So, well, some good points, some not so good points. They caught people. Okay. However, they were criminals, as in they were corrupt. They were often catching the wrong people. So all in all, not great people. We're not a fan of them. I don't think I'd want my police to be like them. But we still have all of these problems. These problems all still exist. So these problems all still exist. So we need something. And a man by the name of Thomas DeVale, who is a magistrate, which is like a judge, and judges always wear in Britain wear those wigs. He sets up a group called the Bow Street Runners. Bow Street because they're set in Bow Street. Runners, they run around catching criminals. Simple as that. Okay, they run around catching criminals. Now, what they are is they are an early police force. Okay, they've got their top hat on because they're so respectable. They've got a little handcuffs there. Now, some important things about them is that they patrol day and night. They patrol day and night. Okay, they are also well paid. Okay, they are also well paid. We call this being professional. Okay, so what I want to do is think about why is being professional a good thing? Why is being professional a good thing? Well, if I'm paid for my work, I'll probably do a better job, because if I do better, I might get more money. And also, if I don't do very well, I'll stop being paid, and I need that money. Okay, so this is one reason why. But there's also more than one. Okay, there are large groups of them. Okay, it's not just one person. There are a few of them. Okay, so they're the first paid, so professional, full-time, and they are also trained. Okay, I'm going to say I've got a book here because obviously often you read books to get yourself trained up. So they're trained, full-time, professional, and there's a few of them. Okay, now I want you to tell me now, how much better are they? Or how much more of an improvement are they on the tithing? How much more of an improvement are they on the tithing? Give yourself 3 minutes to answer that. Okay, well, they're professional, more of them, trained, okay, full-time, not part-time. These are what they're doing. Okay, then you could say lack of knowledge of people in the community. The tithing knew everyone. Okay, that's because it was a different time. The tithing couldn't work anymore. Okay, so this wasn't the Bow Stree runners weren't just there, and that was it. There was some improvements. Okay, some improvements were made. So, for instance, we had Thomas de Vale. Then we had two brothers taken over. The Fielding brothers. You've got Henry, and then you have his brother, and his brother takes over, and he is called John. Okay, so you've got Henry Fielding and John Fielding. Now, some of the things they do is they make sure all crimes are reported in the newspaper. They take up adverts in the newspaper, and they report the crimes. So now we can start getting an idea of how much crime was actually being committed. So let's say this is London. If you've got loads of thefts being committed there, but none anywhere else, well, you know there's a thief living there. Let's aim there to catch the thief. So they were able to aim their Bow Street runners into specific areas. Okay. They were also asking the public for information with the adverts. So here's a crime was committed last Sunday. Any information needed? Well, then you may get someone coming in saying, "Oh, I saw John. It was John. It was. I saw him running away with a bag in his hand." Bow Street was like, "Great, let's go knock on John's door. Knock on John. John, you nicked. Done." See, so it helps getting the public involved. Okay, right? Helps getting the public involved. Now, what I want to do quickly now is start creating a table. Let's do why they're effective and why they're not. Okay, that's what we're going to do just before our red zone. So why are they effective? Why are they not? I'm going to give you a few seconds to populate that now. So I'm going to move on and we're going to come back to that. Okay, now they are really, really, really effective. They are catching criminals left, right, and centre, but only in Bow Street, only in this small, small area. So if I just show you a map of London. So this is not even all of London, this is a portion of London. And Bow Street is just here. So they're not going to catch criminals over here. They're not going to catch criminals over here. If you're a criminal over here, you're lucky. Okay. And by the way, Whitechapel, this is where Jack the Ripper was on the rampage doing the old murders. So if the Bow Street runners are around, they weren't catching him because, well, they weren't even near him. So they're good, but they're not the most effective thing in the world because they're not everywhere. So what would be a change you would create then? What is a change you would create? More of them. More of them. So they created 7 more police forces like them. Okay, 7 more. Okay. We also thought, wow, there's a river in London, the Thames. Quite a lot of criminal activity goes on this. Imagine you're running away from Bow Street runners, get on a boat, you're away, you're loving it, you're free. Not anymore, not anymore. They've now got themselves some boats. Now we call this the river police. So we've got the river police out on a boat. You're also thinking, well, Bow Street runners, they're fast, they're called the runners, but they're not faster than a horse. Like, if I get on a horse, I'm away. Well, they're not stupid either. They get themselves some horses, and this is a beautiful horse. Fastest horse in London, this is. Okay. But you've got these called the river police, not the Bow Street runners. Well, these need a cool name, don't they? They're called the Robin Redbreasts because they have a uniform with a red breast, and literally you cannot get a better name than that other than the Robin Redbreast. Okay, so these were some changes that were made to improve the Bow Street runners. Okay, these were some changes that were made to improve the Bow Street runners. Okay, so Robin Redbreasts, this happened about 1905. River Police Act, that was about 1798. Now, the fact we increased it to 7 was called the Middlesex Justices Act. Okay, and that was 1792. 1792. Okay. So the Middlesex Justices Act, 1792, River Police Act, 1798, and the Robin Redbreast, 1905. So these are all changes that were made to improve policing. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is try and add anything else we need to our table of effective and not effective, okay? Effective and not effective. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go back to my Bow Street Runners PowerPoint. Okay, great. So this is actually what the court looked like. So this is what I mean when I said they were in Bow Street, this was them. Okay, we've already done that. Now, what I'd like to do is, I would now like you to answer this question. Okay, so how significant were the Bow Street Runners to the development of crime and punishment? So what we're talking about here is how significant is how important they are at the time, but also for the future. So what changes do they cause? So what I'd like you to do now is have a think about how important it is for the time. So what is going on at that specific time that they're trying to fix? Is it good for that? You tell me. What about the future? So we've already we know what the police is like today, and we know what the police was like in medieval times. So this is sort of bridging that gap now. Are they a big development to help create the police? You tell me. How many people did it affect? If it affected loads and loads of people, it's really, really significant. If it doesn't affect anyone, it's not significant. And that includes for in the future, okay? So these are some questions that I want you to be answering to overall answer the first question, okay? This should probably take you about 8 minutes. Actually, no, 10, I reckon, 10. So what I would like you to do is finish this off and email one of your teachers so we can mark it. All right. Have a lovely time doing history. Great. Love it. All right. See ya.